Well, hello, writers. Welcome to episode number 2 of The Black Heron, where I, Rachel Heron, talk with my friend Sacha Black of the Rebel Author Podcast. Please enjoy our conversation. Hi, darling.
Hello, how are you? How's your
I'm.
month been?
It's been bonkers. It's been banana pants in terms
Oh,
of
wow. Tell me.
what I've been doing and what has been changing, and I cannot wait to hear everything about you. I have a proposal. What if we do like a little like a personal catch up and then we launch into business? Although, like, how are we going to keep
I
those
love
two
it.
separate?
I... Let's do it. Let's try, though. Let's try. Yeah, let's try. I like
How
it.
about you? You have been doing a lot more than I have.
Well, I mean, I traveled like 1,300 miles across Africa.
What countries were you in? I know you were in South Africa.
Just South Africa.
Oh, wow.
I mean, so
I forget
here's
how
the
big it
thing.
is.
This was like a mind-blowing epiphany for me. I mean, we all know that the map is wrong, right? The map that we are taught in school is 100% wrong. They're all like proportionately incorrect. But what
Yeah.
blew my mind was that we got on this 10-hour flight from Heathrow. Literally 8 of those 10 hours were flying across fucking Africa. 8 of the 10 hours flying at 600 miles per hour. Like, the enormity of that country is just boggling to me. And in the
Wow.
meantime, we flew across like fucking England, France, Spain, like the fucking two seas in between in 2 hours.
And then
And
you
then
hit the
Africa
continent
was
of
the
Africa. Oh my
So
God.
it's so big you can't even fathom. And the crazy thing is, I was like, oh yeah, okay, so Cape Town, like, can we not like squeeze Cape Town in? It was still 2,000 kilometers away from where we were. I know,
You're
I literally no,
kidding.
I'm not even joking. I know it was, so it was like a real education in the fact that we are fucking insignificant in this country. So yeah, it was amazing and life changing and
What
bucket
was the
list.
most life-changing part of it?
So probably a couple of things. The first thing was I got to look an elephant in the eye whilst
Oh
I
my
fed it,
God.
which was like, and there was this elephant had the most beautiful hazel eyes, and she was just the most glorious creature and so fucking big. And slightly terrifying, but also beautiful. And yeah, so that was that. So that was the first one, and that was
Oh.
definitely bucket list. And like, I got to sort of touch her and feed her, and that was amazing. But then the other thing that was really life changing was the fact that so on this 1,300 mile trip, we drove past literally thousands of townships,
Mm.
and so I mean, technically they are illegal because they are not established by the government who's meant
Mm-hmm.
to own the land or whatever bullshit there is. But basically, people who create villages in a sense, but these homes are created out of corrugated metal and bricks hold them together, and that is basically it. There's no running water, there's no electricity, and where there is electricity, they literally throw wires over the cabling, and loads of people die trying to pull. Yeah, it's horrific. Trying to pull electricity off of the main lines into their
Mm.
house, like all these live wires. Yeah, no water, no electricity. I mean, we drove past kids washing clothes in dirty river water and playing with these toy cars that they built out of wire. And my stepsister gave her wedding cake away, and I'm going goosebumpy even thinking about it. Like the joy that some of these people, like, they literally danced down the road with open arms for this 2-day-old wedding cake, and it was just such a reminder that, like, just I don't know. Like, just, I'm so
Yeah.
privileged. I'm so fucking privileged. Like, I can always try again. Nothing is a problem. Mistakes can be remade, had another go, because we are privileged enough to have second chances.
You will
We
never
have
have to climb a
opportunities.
pole to try to get electricity and maybe kill yourself and not be able to support your family. You can make you said that to me in a Marco Polo message that you sent me, like, you can make
Yeah,
the mistakes. You can,
yeah.
because of that privilege. It's oh,
And
it's
and it
amazing.
was it was yeah, it was such a reminder. Like, I just, like, we all watch TV, we all watch the news, and we see poverty on TV. There's homeless people in the city, right? Everybody's city has homeless people. It is fucking nothing
Yeah.
compared to the quantity of people living in impoverished environments in Africa. I just, you cannot count, because it is that enormous, and that was horrifying to me. I feel very naive, to be honest with you, and uneducated on quite how bad the situation is. So yeah, that is the thing that is going to stay with me forever.
I have
So
this idea
yeah,
because that I don't think any of us can understand what that is like until we see it. And I admit that I have never seen it. I've seen poverty in on a real minor scale in, the States, and, homeless encampments, but I've never
yeah, and
driven
I'm
past
not.
that for hours. No, but I
Yeah,
don't think I can. I understand that, like, mentally I don't get it, and I wouldn't get it until I saw it. And that must
yeah.
be
There
really
was
a mind
there was
shift.
yeah, that was definitely how that it was a shift. It was a real stop, and my life is never going to be the same again, because I've seen that, and I desperately want to do something about it, and I have no fucking idea how you change an entire world. Our world is fucked. Like,
Yeah.
that should not be happening. And I just wanted to say, I know I said earlier, the poverty in the UK is nothing. That I don't mean nothing.
Oh,
It
I
is still a
understand.
problem.
Yes, of
I
course.
just meant, yeah,
But
it
it's
was
not
like a
10
whole.
hours of driving and that's all you
Yes,
see is
yes,
yeah.
that was the shocking bit.
Yeah.
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 But tell me about your month. I want to know your things.
It's so not going to South Africa, which is a place I've always wanted to go, and someday I will get there. Um, my month has been kind of well, I went to the RWNZ Romance Writers of New Zealand conference, which was great and completely overwhelming, and I don't know how to people anymore, and I lost my shit. More ways than one. I was so sick. So sick afterwards with this terrible abdominal migraine, and I was just really, really ill for about 3 days. And I talked to our pal Ellie, of Becca Syme fame, and she started talking to me about boundaries and what, where
Oh wow!
where
Straight in there
boundaries
with
live.
with the sucker punch.
Straight, yeah,
So
she sucker punched me like
about.
twice in that phone in our first phone call. No, but she did. I did say to Ellie, who is for people who don't know, she's a coach within the Clifton Strengths who works for Becca Syme, and she's fantastic and she's mind blowing, and now she's my monthly coach. I'm so excited because I was just copying Sacha, and I told her I said I'm copying Sacha, and she goes, oh yeah, she goes, but looking at your strengths, I'm not going to be mean to you like I am to her. She said, I'm going to be much more gentle with you. I don't need to do that. I said,
Wow.
thank God. And then she proceeded to be not gentle at all.
Yes.
Sweet, with
I
that
love
sweet little
that.
smile that she has.
Yeah.
But she was,
So
she just
deceptive.
basically, set aside all of my, businessy kind of questions about how do I write more, blah, blah, blah. She's like, okay, let's talk about your soul and boundaries, and I still haven't done the exercise that she needed me to do, which was like draw actually the concentric circles of who do you let in close and closer and closest, because of my relator. Take a drink, Clifton Strengths. And so I'm gonna do that before I see her on Friday for our mini coaching. But where am I going with
I
this?
love. I
Oh
let
yeah,
me
yeah,
just
yeah.
so I love that I do exactly the same. I send her a list of questions, and then she just takes the whole conversation as she wants it, which is exactly where it needs to go as
Which
well.
is
Like, that's the
exactly where it needs to go. And what we are saying here, people, is that writing coaches are amazing, especially if you get the right
they
one for
are.
you. And I don't, so then, I argued with her for a while about how I couldn't use the help that I thought I needed and wanted. And, email is always my biggest problem. And I set up the most amazing email autoresponder that the world has ever seen. Did you see it yet?
No, I
There,
have not, but I'm going
there,
to email you immediately
e-
after this just to get the
email me to get it, because the
autoresponder.
very first one is like, if this is urgent because there's a bomb underneath your chair and it will detonate if I don't get back to you quick enough, please put urgent in the subject line and I might see it in time. Otherwise, prayer hands. Like I just, but
Oh
but then
God, I love
but
that.
but because otherwise people always like to put urgent in the subject line and go, do you recommend a writing conference? I'm like, that is not urgent.
Yep,
um
yep.
and then the other one that was really important to me to get in there's a bunch of things I was just like, fuck it, people read to the end, God bless them. If they don't, I don't care. But I put in this big paragraph about, if you are sending me a compliment of any sort, thanking me for anything, here's how you have just made my heart feel, because that is the hardest part to me. And sometimes I will avoid email, sometimes for weeks, because there will be a bunch of those kind of emails in there and I don't know how to respond. I like to put my head under the sand. I can't say I do say thank you, but I don't say it well. So I tried to say it really heartfelt in that little paragraph. And then if and they probably will, because I generally do get around to it eventually. But when I send them a like, thank you so much, really, really, you touched my heart, they'll already know that I had a problem with it and I don't know what to do. And I'm underwater. And it's a thing of beauty, people. Just email me, Rachael@rachelherron.com. Got to spell it right.
I love that.
Just to
I
see the
love that.
autoresponder. And then I won't respond. But so I set
Yeah.
that up, and that was fantastic. And then I use something called Boomerang. Have you ever heard of Boomerang?
I've heard you talk about Boomerang before. Yeah,
I turned
yeah.
it
It
back on.
terrifies me,
It's so
though.
good. It's so The thing is, you can always go to the Boomerang file and peek at it just to see if there's anything that's going to explode. But
Yeah.
I needed this royalty audiobook question answered, and the nobody's answering me at the audio company Blackstone. So I kept escalating it, and then like the CEO responded and put urgent in the title, and I got it. And it was this thing that he was like, we didn't even know how to reach you. So it worked. It worked on a business, like, time sensitive thing. And
That
now
is
my brain is, and
amazing.
what Boomerang does is it keeps all your emails out of your inbox until a set time when they'll dump in. I turned it off so they won't dump in. There's no set time. I have to choose. I have to go push unpause Boomerang, and I'm trying to do it once, maybe twice a week, and then they all fill in, and I spend a few hours going through. But otherwise, everything's out except people that I have whitelisted, like you and my sisters and my assistant. All of those will always come in. My editor, my agent, all those. But otherwise, it's really good. It's really good.
That is amazing. Do you still have guilt around email then?
I have probably 75% less guilt around the email as of this week,
Yes, yes.
because there
Okay.
is a lovey, touchy, feely thing that
Yeah.
I am sending out regularly, and
Because that was
that
the
person will
problem
feel
for me.
appreciated.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
No, the guilt
yeah.
has been 1,000 pounds, and I have 75% less.
That's amazing. I love it.
It's
I love
good.
it.
So
Yeah, yeah.
okay, wait, so we just fucked off with personal stuff. There's no
Well,
other there's no other personal stuff. Yes,
there's
go on.
one more. There's one
Tell
more
me.
because I think that you will appreciate it and it's Ellie
Mm,
related.
tell me.
Ellie gave me a 30-day homework.
Oh, ouch.
Yes.
What
It
is
was
it?
ouch. So it appears that I have a problem with control.
That's so weird. I can't.
I know.
What? You?
I know.
Do you know that that is my number one problem in life? That is
Well, you may
literally,
end up
yes.
with
So
this
let's.
homework.
So yeah. Okay. Note to self: don't ever mention that to Ellie.
So,
Tell me what it is.
so basically, she was like, you need to email me every day with the same sentence, like as an affirmation. And the affirmation is like, let me get the exact phrasing
Yes,
because even
please.
after 19 days, I still don't know it off by heart. But the phrase, where is my sent items? Here we go. Let me find today's. Okay. So it says, I cannot place expectations on people or things outside of my control, and I cannot control everyone and everything. But here was the thing. Not only did I have to send that, I had to send like a thought or a way that I do this or a way that it impacts my life. And so like the first 2 or 3 days, I like basically just re-said what Ellie had said to me. But then we were away and I
Mm.
was away from work. And so every day got deeper and deeper.
Ooh.
And then I got to like the why. Why am I behaving like this? Why do I do this? And it was like this meditative kind of experiment, and like it has been enlightening. I'm on day 19, so I'm like 2/3 of the way through, and I've done it consistently as well. Like I don't know how, like given some of the flights and things, but yeah, I thought you would like it because it's thinking on one topic every single day intentionally for 30 days, or 19 for me currently, has been so fascinating. And like, I just didn't think that I could get any deeper, but every day I've gone a layer deeper. And so, like, I want to do this experiment with something else. So,
Wow.
yeah, I thought you would like that.
That is gorgeous, and it reminds me of, like, you're accidentally in recovery, like, that is such a recovery thing to do, you know, so I am in recovery from
Mm-hmm.
alcohol and some other substance abuse stuff, and we're constantly talking about and thinking about and, reaffirming that we're basically in control of almost nothing, including a lot of times myself. Like the only
Yes.
thing that I can control is really not myself. And I hate that so much. I hate it with all of my being. But when
Yes.
I do meditate on it and keep thinking about it and keep talking about it, for me, and I know this is different for everybody, but for me, it always comes down to fear and what I, and I do believe that I should be running the world and I have a much better way of doing it than everyone else if people would just get out of my way and let me run the show, which is bullshit, but that is what my brain tells me.
I know. And so I've been having all of these realizations that basically the only thing that I can do is like control my reaction and my
Yes.
thoughts. And like that is basically fucking it, which has been horrible. And, but you know, one has to accept these things. So here I am
Wow.
trying to meditate on it.
How does Chloe do with your controlling tendencies? Because I will say that Lala, it's like it's she really hates it and she will never put up with 1 second of it, unfortunately.
So have I told you what Chloe's strengths are?
No, if you have, I forgot.
So she's command significant self-assurance.
Oh, oh my
Yeah.
God. Lala is like
Yeah.
adaptability, 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 adaptability.
Oh, wow.
She just lives on another plane and she does let me do some controlling things, but as soon as I try to control her at all, but that's
Yeah.
hilarious. So your guys' blow-ups
We
must
are,
be intense.
we don't argue. In
Oh,
13 years, we have
that's
had 3 arguments.
self-preservation.
Yeah.
The nuclear reaction would be a little too much.
So basically, Chloe blows very quickly and
Ah,
then sort of takes like 24 hours and then she comes back down to earth. I don't ever blow because if I blow, it's like Hiroshima. So
ah,
like those 3 arguments were basically me blowing over the 13 years. So that's
wow.
how we count them. Yeah.
Oh my God,
So,
that's amazing.
yeah, yeah. So we are 2 yellow dominant women, which is crazy. Like, cause
Wow.
yeah, I don't know. It's a lot of people are like, wow.
I can't imagine.
Yeah, yeah.
Explain for people what yellow dominant means for those who might not know.
Um, so that's like influencing strengths, which are basically the sort of rarer ones. We're quite emotionally expressive. Is those strengths we like? Yeah, I don't know. Do you know? Haven't done. I don't know how to explain the influencing strengths other than all of the ones that nobody really understands.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a good way to put it.
yeah.
Cool. Uh,
But business,
business. How is it feeling
yes.
to be back at home and in the chair? This is your first day back.
This is my first day back. So guess what today's email to Ellie was about? It was me having the expectation that I could just come right back to work. Bless my
Yeah.
naive soul. Yeah, I definitely I definitely got up this morning like, yeah, I'm gonna dominate, everything's gonna be amazing. I'm gonna do
And I'll
like
check everything off
75,000
all the
things.
lists. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then I did fuck nothing until 12 o'clock. I like cleaned my desk, I like dealt with my purse, I cleaned my desk again, and then I cleaned my drawer. And then I was like, wow, like how do I do
How do
this?
I work?
Yeah.
What do you need to be doing? What is your next biggest project, the thing?
I feel like what I need to be doing is saying no to stuff. And what I've actually done is said yes to too many things. So this week, I've got 2 weeks, and I think I've got to do 8 presentations.
And what are these presentations?
So I've got one for my my Rebel Readers Patreon masterclass. We're deconstructing Gallant by V.E. Schwab. I've got one on the senses, one on mastering the unlikable character, one on self-publishing 101.
Are these like for Jericho or Ally or?
4 are for Jericho, one is for the Patreon, and then 2. It's either 1 or 2 for Ally. And then there's something else. I've got another one.
Oh, go on.
No, it's just
do these come with like slideshows? Do you have like? Oh no! So they're not even like sitting and reacting to interview questions or something.
No. One is. I've got one that's that. Yeah. God. I know. I made a mistake. Lots of times. I made multiple mistakes. Like the Jericho one I don't mind because it's in person and that's fun. Like I haven't done that really for a really long time. So I'm kind of like nervous and excited. And that's 4 of them in one. But also like I really just want to be writing because whilst I was away, I completely changed the plot of my story. And apparently that's normal for me. So Ellie tells me. I beg to differ, but apparently I do that every single time.
Really?
She calls it retweaking, and I just have no memory of doing that. I have a memory now, but it's not the point. I don't want it to be part of my process. Why does it have to be part of it?
That's so interesting because you go away and your brain just rejiggers and you think deeper about what I mean. That's the whole thing about writing for a lot of us, I think, is that like we think about it and then it makes us smarter because we're thinking about our books, and now we're smarter people and we come up with a better fucking idea, and then we've got to do it.
So annoying
because we weren't that smart when we started thinking about the book, but then it taught us something.
But why can't the first idea be the best
one? Where's your intellection? I'm going to ask you this forever.
11, but
it's right up there. Yeah.
I have like I have strategic and learner and input screen. I think input screen. Yeah. So I have like 3 others because strategic is my second. So it gets pulled up. It's annoying. But the story, unsurprisingly, is much better now.
And where are you? And where are you in the drafting phase of this? Skeletoning?
I'm about to start skeletoning. Yeah. After I've done these presentations. So yeah. And then I will just go straight into like writing, I think.
Oh, that's gonna feel so good.
I've talked too much. I want to hear.
Oh, you haven't talked too much. You're fascinating. So I talked to Ellie about my fear of this was such a great moment. So I'm writing this queer paranormal midlife women's fiction. And I was like, my paranormal midlife women's fiction is already a niche. And I told her, like what you and I have talked about, like in adding the queer part to it is making it a bigger, a smaller sub niche. And she's like, yeah. And I said, and I want to make money on this. And she goes, oh yeah, I don't know if you can do that. And I was like, okay.
Wow.
And I was mad for like 4 seconds. And I thought, no, this is what I have been wondering about. Also, there was such a level of relief when she said it. And here's what happened to me. I had been moving towards the money and thinking about this queer paranormal series, right? But in my heart, I know that I don't like writing series. I just don't like doing it. I've done it 4 times, 5 times. And I always get bored. And I was already getting bored about thinking of the second or third book. Like the second book, you shouldn't already be getting bored with this idea. So I had this thought, which was just like, oh, maybe this is not a series. Maybe this is a big, beautiful standalone that I love and that I am so fucking proud of. And then that begs the question, oh my gosh, so much has happened. That begs the question, do I want to put it into KU like I would, self-publish and put it in KU like I was going to do? It's very hard to get traction and readership with a book like that if you don't have a series to back it up. All of those books have series. So I am going to let my agent have it for a while, do what she wants with it. And if she can't sell it, then I will self-publish it, obviously, and do the promo. But doing promo on a brand new genre with no other books to follow it will be difficult, and that's fine. There will be some readership, and that'll be lovely. And I love this book, and that doesn't change it. But I'm not attaching weight anymore to it to make a ton of money. So then the next question was like, well, what do I really want to do? And
that was going to be my next question. Yeah.
And then my heart told me the answer. And I think we talked about this briefly, but my heart knows that what I love doing the most, and I've always said this, is writing the nonfiction, writing the creative nonfiction, writing memoir, writing for writers. And I have had this mental block for a while about I want to make more money from selling my books than I do teaching. And right now I don't. I make more money teaching than selling my books, which for a long time has made me feel like, well, I'm failing in some way. You know, those who can do, those who can't teach, that stupid saying. But I have to tell you, I have been loving teaching so much. Like my whole heart has been melting into puddles all around me. And it just struck home that, okay, I love teaching the 90-day classes. I love helping writers write. I also write a shit ton of books, and I'm really good at writing books. That's not going to stop. But I'm going to move forward just writing the next book that I want to write. And then after I finish that book, I'll write the next book that I want to write. And if that's a brand new novel that takes me by surprise, I'll write that. But the next thing that I'm going to write so I'm, finishing edits on the 7 Miracles, the paranormal, finishing edits, or I'm getting edits pretty soon from my editor on the memoir, which is called The Fix and is my recovery memoir. And then the book after that will be the 90 Days to Done book. Do you want to hear the subtitle of it though?
Yes.
90 Days to Done, using responsive writing to stop overthinking and finally finish your beautiful book. Something like that. And responsive writing is like my new thing that I'm teaching and that I love. And that is just lighting students up. And then we're going to go super woo for a second. Okay. Super woo, super woo. So I went away this last weekend on a writer's retreat, solo writer's retreat. I try to do it every 6 months. I Marco Polo'd you from the tub, I think. And this tub was outside on the edge of a cliff, no one around except the owner's parents did walk by while I was in the tub, and I'm holding my boobs under the water, and they're like, no, we're not going to come closer, but I didn't know what they were saying because the wind was really loud. No, but it was beautiful. So I was all by myself out there, and I went out there to think and to journal and to meditate on all of these things. And I'm going to tell you something, and you don't have to believe me, and no one listening has to believe me, but I have a student who is a beautiful person and don't laugh, receives messages from a beloved person who is no longer on this side of the veil. And she gets messages sometimes for other people. And out of the blue, the night before I left, I had been lying in our bed here at home. And I thought, oh my God, I'm going to do the opposite thing of what I thought I was going to do. I thought I was trying to lean away from teaching. I'm going to lean into teaching with all of my heart and do it right this time and do it with all of my heart. And so then I woke up to this message, and I'm going to read it to you. This person who does not know me very well, and I don't know her very well, says that her person told her to say to me, it's time for you to step into a new role. It's not what you thought you would be doing right now. It's a new chapter. It feels like this, but it really isn't at all. It's what you have always been meant to be doing and really have been doing all along. You are just formalizing this. Don't let the awkward in between stop you from stepping into it.
Oh my God, get that!
And I was like, have I been doing this all along? I've been teaching for years. I'm 320 episodes into my podcast, 6+ years. I have been teaching this whole time, but only half-assed. Not half-assed. I don't half-ass anything. I whole-ass everything. But always with the intention of like, well, it shouldn't be as important to me as it is. It is that important. And I fucking love it. So here's my new thing. I am mama bear to writers, because I will cut a bitch. I will fight anybody who tries to hurt any new writer or any writer who gets hurt. And I want to be Mr. Rogers meets Tim Gunn. And my mantra is, I'm proud of you. Now make it work.
Oh my God. I love it. I love it. That's literally, I don't know who that person is, but I was like, a chill literally went, like,
And I couldn't argue that I really do believe it came to me. I don't believe it's bullshit. And I think that, like, 9 other people could have told me something like that and I would have thought it was bullshit. But because I'd made that decision just hours before and I'd also headed to my desk to send her a message. That's the only reason I was opening Slack that morning, was to send her a message just to thank her for being such a bright light in my classes, because she's so positive and encouraging and she makes everybody feel good. And I opened Slack to send her a message and she had sent that to me like an hour earlier.
Oh
So,
my
and then
God.
I got on the road and I spent 2.5 days journaling about this and like on TikTok. I've never known what to do on TikTok. You know what I'm going to do on TikTok now? I'm just going to mama bear writers. That's all I'm going to do. And that's what I
I
love doing.
love it.
You like it?
I
It's
love
okay?
it. Yes, I love it. I love it, love it, love it.
I'm so
And like,
excited.
no, because also, like, I have listened to you for so long because I love the way you talk about writing. I love that the way that you teach with such positivity and encouragement. And like, oh my God, I'm excited that you are now full heart all the way in. Like, and it makes so much sense as well. I wanted to ask, the responsive writing, is that going to be in the book or is that going to be a book in of itself?
I think it's going to be in the book.
Okay.
It could be its own thing. However, I kind of want it just like business SEO wise, like 90 Days to Done is mine. It's also
Hmm.
catchy, kind of slash clickbaity. Like if I were
Hmm.
looking for a book and I was new, I'd go 90 days, what? And then I would read that title and go, what's responsive writing? And then it'll say what it is in the blurb. And I don't need to separate those two things because I've got Fast Draft Your Memoir, which does really well. It's probably my bestseller, honestly. I would say not probably. That and my memoir that I re-released this year are my two. So look at, the numbers don't even lie. What I sell is nonfiction about writing and memoir. That's what sells the best. And I write great fiction. I know that I do. But what my heart sings to is helping other people. And I know that you get that. Like
Hmm.
you get the wanting to help other people. And that sounds
I
so
do.
cheesy when I say it. Ugh. I want to
No,
throw
but
up.
I
But
have the same battle. Like I still have the same, but I want my money to come from here. And like I've heard Joanna Penn say it so many times, like don't be romantic about where your money comes from. And I'm
uh
like, I have
I'm
heard her say that. Honestly, I cannot tell you how many times. And like I wanna listen, I do, but I'm still precious. Like so
yes.
I won't be forever. But like
I
yeah.
think I
Also I
may be over
haven't
the hump. I think I may have
yeah.
just crawled over that hump because it matters what we are doing. Both our fiction and our nonfiction matter to people. And that what a fucking gift. Like, what, speaking of privilege, the fact that we can sit on Zoom and have this conversation about our life's work.
Yes, yes, exactly. And I don't want to write things that don't matter. That's the
Yeah.
problem, right? And but that comes with consequences, and I might not like them, but they're there. It's almost like I can't control it.
Yes. Okay. And so me choosing not to move forward into series, which was already breaking my soul, was me letting go of trying to control a financial outcome. And it felt so good to let
Yeah,
that go.
yeah. I can't let that go yet. One day,
Nor do you have
maybe.
to. Nor do you have to. It's not. I want you to write series and make a bajillion,
Well,
majillion dollars.
this is the thing. I hate series, which is why I was laughing all the way along because
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
I don't even read them. I don't fucking read them.
Okay,
Like
okay,
when there
that's
is
hilarious. I would love to hear
right?
other people talk about that. I don't read them either. What I do is I read a book, I fall in love with it, and I go, I'd love to read the second book, but I need a break. And then I have a break of like 7 years. And then I'm not exaggerating, and then I might read the
Yeah.
second book, even though my heart wants to.
Yes.
But
I do exactly the same. I
why?
have read so many first in series, and I'm
Yeah,
like, oh my god, that was so good. What are they gonna read now? Like,
yeah. I
like
mean, it
that is
must be
different.
sparkly new. Have I asked you this? If I forget things, it's just because my brain is a sip. Do you have ADHD?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't. I've never been diagnosed with it. I don't think I do. I think I have other things which we
Yeah.
can talk about. But I don't have ADHD. Chloe and my son both have ADHD.
Ah, yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
So you
Yeah.
understand it, you see it. Yeah.
Yes, I understand it. I see it. Yeah, I live with it.
Yeah.
With 2/3 of my household. Atlas is not diagnosed, but we've been put on a pathway. We're pretty
Yeah.
sure he probably has ADHD.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but no, I don't know what it is. I think it's like travel for me. There are so many countries that I
Yeah.
want to visit. I don't like to visit the same country twice. I like to go and I like to do it properly the first time, and then visit another one. And I feel like that with books. I don't reread books.
Ah.
I
Oh my God. Last
I
night my wife tried to like make because I was in a reading slump and I was just like flicking through books on my sample chapters on my Kindle. And she said, why don't you just reread a book? And I was like, oh, I mean, that's probably a great idea. I'd
yeah
probably enjoy it. And as a good wife, I said, that is a great idea. I'm going to consider that. And then in my brain, I'm like,
yeah.
hey, I have a short life here. Do you know how many books I want to reid? I want to read all of
Exactly.
them.
Exactly. Yeah, and that is exact. Oh, I just said exactly the same. And this is what. So for me, I'm like, well, I can do interconnected standalone. Like that's the only solution
Yes.
to not like to still writing series without it being a series because that I nearly didn't finish my first series just because I fucking
That's right.
hated
You had
it.
such a hard time with that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not doing that again. So yeah, I can't, and it just makes like so much sense. Like I don't like. It's funny because like even it's so rare for me to binge anything even on TV. I prefer movies over TV series.
Yep. Me
Like
too.
it's that one and
Absolutely.
done, one
I
and
want
done.
a closed loop.
Yes,
I want to sit
yes,
down for an hour and a half or 2 hours and have it done. I will do series, but also I am 3 episodes into 400,000 series.
yes,
And I like all of them. I
yes.
won't even watch a second one if I don't love it, but I cannot.
Well, so the series that I tend to finish are the ones that my wife likes,
Yes,
right? So if
exactly.
we
Because you
both
sit on the
like it,
couch
then
together. Yes.
yeah, exactly. But otherwise, like it will take me a shit you not like 8 months to finish a TV show because I just
Oh
don't
yeah.
have any time and I choose other things over sitting down and watching it. So it just
I
ends up
finished
taking me
the I
ages.
finished the Americans this year, like early a few months ago, and I think it ended 3 or 4 years ago. That's
Yeah.
how long I've been watching it. Also, it was fantastic, and the ending was perfect. But like one time
Yeah.
for her birthday, for Lala's birthday, she asked me to watch The Good Place with her the whole
Oh,
first season
I
because
love
she
that
I
show.
loved it too, and I loved it, but she knew I wouldn't do it unless she made it like completely like this is all I want for my birthday. Okay, well, of course I'm gonna watch
Wow. Yeah, we get it's so difficult because we're like, no, you can't watch that without me. And then it's like 5 days for Chloe before I have the time to sit down again and watch TV.
it. Me
And she's
too.
like, come on. But
Yes.
yeah, what have you read since I have last spoken to you?
Oh, you know what I read? You will love this. David Ellis, Look Closer. He's represented by my agent, and she actually sent me a copy of it. It is a thriller, and I'm like I'm pretty committed to well, I'll just say it. I'm pretty committed to not reading straight white males right now because there's so much other good stuff there. And I picked it up because I took it on my retreat and she had sent it to me. It was brilliant and twisty and stuff I didn't
Oh,
see coming. And it's very kind of hard to surprise me, anymore with thrillers because
mm,
we see it all and we're writers and we're underneath, we're inside the gears of it. And it was really, really well written and moving. I really loved it. Uh what else did I read? I read the new Becky Chambers, the first novella. I don't know if you do, I don't do so much science fiction, but she's kind of cozy science fiction. And she
oh,
writes
like
about
this
this.
cozy fantasy movement. Yeah.
Yes. I read a cozy fantasy. I can't remember what it was called, but it was one that everybody was reading on TikTok. And it was a darling about
Legends and
the
Lattes.
lunches and
Yeah.
lattes.
I have it
Precious.
literally here to read.
It's precious. And so this one is science fiction, but I mean, it's really more fantasy. It's about a tea making monk who meets a robot in the forest and they go on a little adventure. And it was just
Aww.
so nice. And what else I've been reading? Oh, I've been doing some Seth Godin drop-ins. And do you read him?
I have read some of his. I've read The Dip. I've read All Marketers Are Liars, and I think
Have
I've
you read
read
The
something else.
Practice?
Is that the blue cover?
I don't remember. I don't know. I got it on Kindle, so I'm not sure.
The Practice. It's a blue
Okay,
cover.
yeah.
I've got it. I just haven't
It-
read it. I've also
it's
read Tribes. I think
oh,
was the
I
other one.
haven't read that one. It's like, and I'm sure they're all the same because they come from his blog, but they're really nice and short. But the practice is really, it was really reminding me that we do our work in order to ship it and to give it to other people. We do it and then we move it out
Mm.
and we don't get precious about it. And the whole book is about not being precious about your work. And I can be awesomely precious about my work.
it's almost like he's telling us like not to try and control the outcome.
Exactly. What about you? What have you read?
So I'm just gonna have to open my Goodreads because I have a memory like so I have not read a huge amount. So at the beginning, I've read like 67 books this year, but all like the vast majority of those were in the first chunk of the year, and then I've been in pretty much a reading slump for the whole of this quarter. So I would say from about April, I've been in a bit of a reading slump. One, because I have overworked and I always read at night. I've been working until like 10:30 at night, and then I'm done and like done at that point. Yeah. And two, I read a load of books that put me in a slump, which we talked about last time.
Right. Yes.
Yes, and I have been slowly pulling myself out. So the one book that I think, did we talk about Malice last time?
I think it sounds familiar, or maybe I heard you talk about it on your show. Actually, I can't remember.
Yeah, maybe. Well, so I read King of Battle and Blood, which is by Scarlett Sinclair, which is like a fantasy romance. It's basically vampire smut, and I loved it. Every single page. I loved every single page.
What did you love about it? What lit you up? Because your face is so cute right now. If people are watching on the video in my Patreon, like your face is just like beaming giddily, like you're in love with it.
I really was. It was just like total. It was just fluff. Like it. There was nothing. It wasn't like a literary masterpiece, but it was just. I just could not put it down. I was invested in the characters. Like it was like, I don't know how to describe these books. Do you know how there are these books where you're like, I really shouldn't enjoy this because you know it's not the most plausible plot. You know it's not the most realistic love story. You know it's not this, you know it's not that. And yet Gestalt, the whole is more than the sum of its parts, right? Yes. And it was just brilliant.
Tell me the name of it again, because it sounded like all those other books.
King of Battle and Blood. And basically, like she masturbates in the second page or whatever it was, the second chapter, and then they're like banging in like the third chapter or whatever it was, and I was just like, this is fucking great.
Did you ever read the Black Dagger Brotherhood?
No. I need to write it down.
Those were grab the first one. It's exactly the same feeling. It's also vampires and it's also very smutty.
So vampires are my favorite. They are literally my favorite.
But the first Black Dagger Brotherhood. They are absolutely. It was the very first book in my life that I got on a plane in New York and started reading and finished it as we taxied in San Francisco. Because usually I'll read for like an hour or whatever, but I just those 4.5 hours I did it, and I read I read that whole series. I must say. Well, I don't know. Maybe the last 3 or 4.
Okay, that is an endorsement.
Right?
Do you know the thing that I love? When it's like they will kill for you. Like that they would kill for you, but like nobody else. Like, so I don't really like abusive relationships or portrayal of that in terms of like, not so domestic violence, fine, well, not fine, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't mind reading that. What I don't like are toxic relationships.
Yeah.
But what I do like is something that gets right up to the line of what's acceptable.
That is the Black Dagger Brotherhood. Yes.
Yes, that is what I like. Like, where it's just acceptable, but like, you're like, should I like this? I'm not sure if I should. And that's kind of where my line is. That's the kind of just fluff that I love.
I'm so glad that I just gave you a good book recommendation, because you're gonna. And also, there's this thing in there, and all of them, that she makes the bad. I can't remember if they're vampires or what, but the bad people, the bad things, they smell like baby powder. And everyone who's read this series, like, now when you smell baby powder, I'm like, oh no, such a visceral.
Oh my god, I can't wait. I'm literally going to download it as soon as it's off the call. Or I might buy it. I think I'll buy the paperback. Oh my god, I love that. The only other thing that I've read that I can really talk about is Stephen Pressfield had a new book. I don't know if you've read him.
I do. I have such mixed feelings about him. I love him. And also, like, he could not be more privileged. Yeah, he could not understand where he sits in the world in a bigger way. But I love The War of Art. Like that's actually one of the few books that I will kind of pick through and flip through again. So what is the new one?
It's called Put Your Ass Where Your Heart Wants to Be.
It's a good title.
It is a good title. It's kind of a rehash of everything he's already said. But I just don't mind because I just, he is like, I agree about the like white male privilege, middle class, opportunities, all the rest of it. But I do kind of like the way that he says things. I'm pretty sure he's high competition, and that's what appeals to me. Because he has that very competitive mindset language. He even talked about word dropped competition in there, and I was like, yeah, I had a feeling he was high competition. So yeah, like I have a feeling that's why he appeals to me, not necessarily anything else. I think he's just using language that I like.
Yeah. Well, even the way he talks about resistance as being, the true north compass point, where you feel the most resistance is where your heart should go. That's like a competitive way to look at it too. And I could see him not working for people. Yeah. The war of art. Exactly.
Right. There can only be one winner, right?
So there's actually on my Trello board, there is just a note to myself that says the war of art, but me. And that is 90 days to done. And in bed that night when I made this decision before I saw the message in my Slack channel the next day, I want to write like the war of art about writing, but the kindest, sweetest, most loving and encouraging message that has ever been given, because that's where he does really well. He doesn't need to be kind and he's not a mama bear. I want to be like the mama bear Stephen Pressfield. There, I said it.
I love it. I am so here for that. I cannot wait for this. Can I just throw my money at you immediately? Because I want it. I need it because I am.
Go on.
I am in fear of this next book. So I need that. You need to write that book for me.
What are you in fear of with the book?
I think that I am in fear that I can't write it at the pace I want to write it. I'm in fear that I don't know enough. I'm in fear that...
Is this the one you're not talking about the genre publicly yet? Okay, great.
Yeah.
So we'll not pick on that.
The one that I rewrote the outline. Well, posted.
Right.
Right. Anyway, I don't know. Just that I can't do it. That the same thing will happen that happened with the last book. Well, not the last book, but the book before that took like 4 years. So yeah, I don't know. And
you have some like leftover PTSD from that.
Yeah.
Where the P stands for publishing. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. And that I'm going to do it and fail, I think, is the other thing that worries me. Yeah, because I still can't get rid of the financial expectation, which is a problem. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm going to do it anyway, but I still need... we need these mindset books because
it's going to be amazing because you love it. This is something that is important to you and that matters. What was the most recent book that you wrote so quickly? Was that The Anatomy of a Bestseller?
That one I wrote in 2 weeks, but the other one I wrote...
Good God.
I know.
I have never done that in my life.
2 weeks separated by a week, I think.
Oh, well, that makes me feel better, Sacha. Yeah, that's reasonable. Phew, anyone could do that. You didn't tell us about that extra, you slacker. Hell.
The one that I wrote in 3 weeks was The Scent of Death.
Yeah. And that's a novel. That's a
novel.
And you had fun doing that. And you did that because like you like the skeletoning, right? Remind me how you felt about it.
I wrote the skeleton, which was 20K, and then I had that open on this screen. And then on this screen, I just wrote, and I didn't like fiddle. I didn't cut and paste. I literally I retyped everything that 20K and then expanded. And that really helped. So that's what I have to do with this next one. Even though it feels inefficient, it's not, I don't think. But
it's not inefficient at all. I think it's a fantastic method. Yeah.
This is the book, this is the test. If I can do it a second time, then I can do it a third and fourth and fifth, right? So this is where the fear comes from. It's like, can I do this process again? That I think is the fear, Yeah.
I think you're going to know 5 days in that not only can you do this, but this is you, and that you're going to have so much fun with those first like 5 days of,
fun squeaky.
Yeah. How long will it take you to do the skeleton, do you think? How long does that usually take you? For me, that's the hard part. I'm not a good planner that way.
Yeah, I don't know is the honest answer. I would like to think maybe 2 weeks because I have to allow myself to think a bit.
Yes,
Like,
you do.
and then if I say 2 weeks, maybe I'll do it in a week. But I don't know. I'm going to say 2 weeks and then we'll see what happens.
So by the time we talk next month.
Don't you dare say that to me.
You will probably have it done. You're actually going red.
Yeah,
I'm going red for you. Wow, I'm sympathetic.
Yeah, I mean, I could.
And then you'll be.
I could try.
And then you'll be cozy. You'll be having fun. You'll be excited about it.
Yeah, I would like to do that.
Or you'll be crying on the floor. But I think
one or the other. So will you be done with all the edits? Let's make this about you. You're done with me.
Yeah. I will be done with the developmental edit. It will 7 Miracles will be off for copy edit. I'm doing this weird thing that I've hired a copy editor as if I am moving forward to self-publishing, even though I have decided to let my agent have it. So I don't know if I'm just throwing money away, but whatever. It's not that much money. And then if I self-publish it, it'll be ready to go. But I also, I don't think I will be quite starting on getting into 90 Days to Done yet. I think that'll be another month out because I've got to work on the memoir as well. And then if I self-publish 7 Miracles, I will do the audiobook, which will take a couple of weeks. And so probably, according to my schedule, I probably won't hit getting back into 90 Days to Done, which is already 35,000 words written, until maybe December.
So. Did the booth arrive?
No, not yet. It's not here yet.
Oh my God, are you kidding me?
I can't, but I do have, so I've got September is like working on fixing books. And then October, we're gone to California for most of October. So then end of October, November will be for audio. So I've got some time for it to arrive. New Zealand is so far away from everything. It should be here by mid-September, they say. And then I will go into that.
So I have one last question. Now that you're going whole heart into teaching,
yes,
are you going to add? Are you going to pivot? Are you going to just do what you're doing and continue?
That's an interesting question. I do want a bit of a rebrand, especially on my Patreon. I'm going to be adding a couple of tiers, not adding a couple of tiers, but adding a couple of perks and taking away some, because I think Patreon is really cool that we get to do that. We get to change things around. So our thing is a new thing that I'm adding at the $10 a month level. I'm going to add, and this is weird and it might not work, but I'm going to add a monthly meditation for writers, which is 10 minutes. You can lie on the floor in your office and let Rachael tell you that it's all going to be okay. And here's why. So that's fun. So a few more writerly things. So maybe rebrand that a little bit, work on the TikTok. And yes, to answer your question more succinctly, I would like to create, and this has been my plan for a long time, I just haven't gotten around to doing it, is some more evergreen content, because I only have one evergreen, like hour-long course out there, and it just keeps chugging along, bringing in money every month, a few $100. And I put that up 8 years ago. I still had dark hair. So I would like 3 or 4 more of those. So that's kind of like a more inexpensive entry place, because I'll have the book eventually at $5.99, and I'll have the $1,300 course, and I want the in between $50, $150 place where people can also enter and be helped and not have to pay that much money. Does that make sense?
I love that. Yes, yeah. It does. Yes. Yeah, and those things, like, they add up. Once you have a few of those, they really, really add up. It's funny because the presentations that I'm doing now, I am doing with an eye to record at some point in this quarter, so that I can, because I have 2, but they're perfect. Like, one is like a replay of a live with some bonus stuff, and then one is a course. But I really struggle not having a live audience, because SIG and all of the yellow strengths.
I really do so well without a live audience.
but the live audience means it's not really evergreen.
Right.
So I kind of have to financially, I need to balance that. So yeah, that is why I'm like, I'm going to perform it, test it, live
That's
teaching, and then
perfect.
record it afterwards. Yeah. So
Do
yeah.
you know I know we're going to wind it up here, but do you know what the best platforms are right now for doing this? Because I use Teachable and I use Udemy. Are there other ones that are big right now?
I
Is there anything that can go through Shopify? Because I am in the middle of setting up a Shopify site. Can you sell courses through Shopify?
so I use Thinkific,
Yeah. Do you
which
like it?
is, yeah, I do. It's been very user friendly. You can do it's very teachable, similar. It's just
Mm-hmm.
slightly cheaper, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I connect it to Stripe, which means it must be able to go through Shopify, I would have thought.
Yeah.
But you have to still, I think they have to take the course on the platform.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Because I don't know
That's
that Shopify is going to have any.
they won't have any that they won't have that set
No.
up. So
But
okay,
that you
good.
could link
Good.
out. Because
I'm
I link
sure.
out on my website. Yeah.
I love all this
Yeah.
stuff. I love all
Yeah,
this
me too.
business crap. All right. Yes.
One recommendation. I have not read this, but two of my friends have read this and have literally like used all of their post-it notes. This is about
Yes, Morgana Best. I've been hearing her on all the podcasts.
yeah.
Tell us
This
the
is
title.
doing stop making others rich, how authors can make bank selling direct. So I've had this recommended by more than one person as literally the go-to Bible for selling direct. Haven't read it, can't recommend it myself, but it is literally like next on my TBR. So
Do you want? So let's talk about it next time too.
yes, okay, let's do
Okay.
that. Let's do that.
Perfect.
Yes, deal.
Well
I
done.
love
Well
it.
done.
Okay.
Okay. And now it's like almost midnight your time. You must be so tired. This is your first day back in the office.
I'm buzzing. I'm so glad to be back. It's unbelievable.
Oh,
I love my job. I
welcome
love my life.
home.
So,
I
thank you.
love that. Okay, my darling. Happy writing. Thanks for
And
everything.
you.